Hi, everyone. Welcome to Empowered with Gina. Okay, today's guest is somebody who keeps my face looking sparkly and shiny and tight and snatched, and is a business owner, and is a mom, and is a wife, and is scaling her life, and everything about her is like I'm a fangirl of. And so Miss Vanessa Hernandez of VH Skincare is here. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. This is technically my first podcast ever. I'm a podcast virgin.
Welcome. Well,
Thank
here you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I start by asking 3 adjectives to describe yourself.
Great. I'm energetic.
Yes.
I'm a go-getter. And I'm a yes girl.
Okay, my favorite. See why we're friends? Okay, so Vanessa, before we even get into like who you powerhouse that you are, where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like?
I grew up in Orange County, so not too far from here. I grew up with an amazing family. My mother and my father are both from Mexico, from Guadalajara and Chihuahua. And so we had a big family, lots of family parties, so much food. And when I was 18 years old, I was like, I want to get into the beauty world. So my dad was dating this girl who was a manager for this sales company. And so she was like, I like you. Why don't you come be a sales rep? And I was like, okay, what's that? Long story short, I was this hair care sales rep.
Out of high school.
At a high school. I was going to community college and doing that on the side. And I was going to all these different hair salons. And I was like, wow, I really like being in this environment. The hairstylists are great. The owners are great. And then a few years into it, I was like doing all these trade shows all over the US. Like I was getting up on stage with microphones, like selling to thousands of women for hair extensions.
And you had no background in this.
No background. It was just really fun.
So you enjoyed it. You weren't like, oh my gosh, deer in headlights.
No, I was like, give me that mic. I'm like, ladies, gentlemen, people who wants longer, fuller, thicker hair. This is revolution, your hair extension. But I got a lot of education through that. But then when I did it for a few years, I was like, wait, why am I selling to all the people in this industry when I could also, I'm an artist, I'm creative. So I went to cosmetology school and during that time, got my cosmetology license. And I was like, hey, if I'm going to make it, I got to make it in LA.
Interesting. And so you were thrown into this world out of nowhere. While you were in school, did you have any aspirations? Like obviously this whole thing came out of nowhere. But were you in going a certain direction?
I wanted to be a famous hairdresser.
Really?
Which is why when I walked in, I was like, Gina, that hair.
You did say that.
Yeah.
She did say that.
Her hair is amazing.
Thank
and
you.
It's all hers.
No extensions, although I love extensions so much. But where did that come from? I want to be a hairstylist. Did you grow up with?
No, not at all. I think just getting into it at the young age of 18 and going to the different salons and seeing the lifestyle and the creativity.
So you weren't around family members as a little girl who were like all into fashion and stuff?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, fashion was not our family. It was very, my dad was a construction, he had owned his own roofing company. A bunch of my cousins worked for him.
Okay.
My mom was in law. She was a paralegal secretary in HR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both traditionally not very fashion forward industries, but we're changing that fashion in the law. Okay. So then you knew you wanted to do hair. You get this just random opportunity. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, why am I promoting other people's businesses when I can create my own business?
Correct.
How do you just have no business background and decide I'm going to start a business?
Well, technically, I went to cosmetology school in Huntington Beach, and I went to Golden West, which was fantastic. I was the president of the cosmetology school department. And when I graduated, I could have had a job anywhere in Orange County because I went to all the different hair salons selling. Mm-hmm. So they all knew me. Mm-hmm. And I was a young rep for my age. They all kind of liked me.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I'm going to make it, I think I need to go up to Los Angeles. I got to go to Beverly Hills.
Ooh.
That's where you get big.
Big time.
So I remember I got dressed up one day and I just drove up to Beverly Hills and I was like, that's it. I'm just going to walk into every single salon and introduce myself.
Really?
Yeah. And so I didn't even have a resume. Oh, no, maybe I did. My mom, actually, for sure, my mom helped me with a resume.
Sure.
but I didn't have any experience. I was fresh out of hair school.
And you had no connections in Beverly Hills? You
Zero.
didn't know someone at a salon who knew someone? Or...
No. And so I just walked in like on Rodeo Drive,
Oh my
on
God.
Beverly Drive. And then I think towards the end of the day, I walked into Christoph Salon, which is a very famous, like Christoph has been famous forever.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I said, hey, and I was so used to walking into salons because I was a rep. So I wasn't intimidated to do that. I walked in and there's this guy in the front who was an older man, gray salt and pepper hair with a mohawk, like fully tatted sleeves.
Yeah.
And I was like, hi, my name's Vanessa. I just graduated cosmetology school. I just was wondering if anybody was in need of an assistant here. And he's like, well, just so happens that my assistant, I just fired my assistant.
Oh, shit.
He wasn't very nice, but he gave me the job right on the spot. And that's how I started.
Okay.
It's wild.
So you get that job, but talk to me, because people listening who are maybe cold calling or just trying to sell themselves on their own, how did you deal with rejection or people telling you no? Because we all get it.
Oh, a lot.
And so that will just stop people in their tracks because it doesn't feel good.
Right.
How did you deal with it?
Rejection, I feel like it's in the eye of the beholder. So you can take it as a rejection, but it's really like for so many no's, you're going to get some yeses. So even though someone may quote unquote reject you or say no, they're just not the right fit and they're not the right person. They're not the right match. And so it's like, I always just thought, okay, just keep going. I'm going to get a yes. Like,
so you wouldn't internalize it. Like something's wrong with me.
No,
I'm not good enough. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. I mean, I have some of that for other stuff.
Sure.
Like growing up, I'm not good enough and, it's self-confidence things. But I think not with that. I feel like with people, I've always been like, okay, well, if it's not the right fit, I'm just going to keep going.
Okay.
But
so fast forward to today, you're now like the owner of this like incredibly well-run and successful skincare or skin. What is the title technically?
We're technically now a med spa, but I used to call it a skin boutique.
Right.
Before
because we started. Sure. Okay. So that's where you are. So transition. How the hell did you go from hair assistant and now you own your own business, your own med spa business?
So when I was working at the salon, my mom they divorced when I was, I think like 12. And she kind of opened up her mind and became very metaphysical and started taking all these classes and astrology and palm reading and belly dancing and like aromatherapy. She went to France and studied in Provence and became this aromatherapist. And so she called me one day and was like, Vanessa, there's going to be this astrological like star alignment on Thursday. So this was like Monday. She's like, so whatever you think, she's like, really think of what you want and manifest it between the hours of like 11 and 2 that day. I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I was at the salon and I just thought, okay, well, what do I want? And at the time, I loved that I was working in Beverly Hills, but I didn't really like my circumstances. It was basically like slave labor.
Sure.
And I was making $300 a week.
Oh, gosh.
And so...
were they nice to you?
The salon was, but the person that I worked for was like a little sketch.
Yeah.
So on that Thursday, I kept going in the bathroom, locking the door. Because, the salons, they have like music, there's like blow dryers. And I would like just go right up to the mirror and look at myself and say, okay, someone's going to walk into my life.
No.
And they're going to present me with this opportunity where I'm making way more money. And I was a big traveler because of all the trade shows. And I enjoyed it. I was like, I want this person to offer me a job where I'm either LA, London or LA, New York. I was very specific.
Wow.
Okay. I was like, and just for, shits and giggles.
Just throw this in there. Just throw it in there. Why not?
I'm such a foodie. And I used to like love to drink a lot at the time. I was like, I want to be taken to the best restaurants. And I want it to just be paid for. Oh. And so I just like kept saying those 3 things.
Stop.
And I'm not kidding you, Gina.
No.
I swear. And there was no like manifesting wasn't like a thing
Yeah.
20 years ago. Like, no, it wasn't talked about the way it is today. But I just like focused and focused and focused and focused. The very next week, I was invited to a dinner party and I ended up working way too late. I was like 40 minutes late to this dinner party. I was like, ugh, I'm not going to go. I'm so late. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I called my best friend. She's like, Vanessa, just go. I'm like, I show up and I sit next to this woman and she's like, hey, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Orange County. She's like, oh my God, that's where I'm from. She's like, what do you do?
Oh my God.
I was like, I have my cosmetology license. She's like, that's the same license I have. So then she's like, when's your birthday? And I said, my birthday is October 30th. She's like, get out of town. That's my birthday
No,
too.
it's not.
I swear. And so she literally is like, you're the one I've been looking for. I'm opening an office in New York City in 8 days. She's like, we'll be bi-coastal. She's like, whatever you're making, I'll triple it. She literally pulled out her checkbook and gave me a $2,500 signing bonus. I was 22. I was like, what is a signing bonus? Like, what is this? And
you're like, is this legal? Are we dating or
no,
what's happening?
Literally, I was like, this sounds too good to be true. I'm like, ha ha. I'm like, okay, but like, what do you do? And she was like, ha ha ha. You'll come to my office tomorrow and I'll show you. I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm totally in as long as I don't have to be an escort. I'm down.
You said it?
Yeah. I was like, this sounds really
a legitimate provision.
And so
no.
I called in sick the next day and I walked into her office and she was on Sunset and Doheny in one of the most prominent dermatologist offices at the time. And I used to have horrible acne.
At the time you did,
at the
when
time.
you met her.
And I used to wear like foundation and contour and concealer and like coverage and blush. And like I did like the whole full face, like
Mask.
what baking would be today.
Baking, yeah.
And so she's like, okay, Vanessa, welcome. Rule number 1, no foundation. You're not allowed to wear any. None of us do. You can do your eyes, you can do your lips, you can do like a little bit of concealer, but nothing on your skin. And so I was like, how? Like, you're crazy. I would do this. And so anyways, long story short, she did this facial treatment on me where she worked on me once a week for 6 weeks in a row. And I peeled like a snake. She did extractions and microderm and LED lights in this peel.
And it was bad acne.
It was bad acne, like cystic. I had pustules all over my cheeks. I had little comedones, like bumps all over my forehead.
Really? Like the craters and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Like all over my jawline.
Really?
And I like was taking care of my skin, but I was using the wrong product.
How long had you had bad acne?
Probably like 17 to 22. So I think part of it was hormonal and just like not using the right stuff and then putting makeup on top of it. And so she transformed my skin.
And how long?
In 6 weeks. And then she taught me how to transform other people's skin, whether they're like teenagers, 40s, 50s, 60s, 20s, 30s, men, women. And it's just this like rhythm, this process that you do. And now I've been doing it for 20 years and it works every time. If the person is willing to commit.
Obviously, there has to be commitment. It's not like come in, take a magic pill, it's gone.
No.
It is a committed.
And it's hard. It hurts. Like,
sure.
Like it's emotional. It triggers so many things.
Does it?
Because when you have acne and someone's pushing on your face, the pain is crazy. But then it's tied to all this emotional, like, I'm not good enough. I can feel like I'm not pretty enough. So people will cry on the table. Like I was crying.
Sure.
But I was like, to take it.
But like what a release too. Like how cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
whoa. Okay. So after 6 weeks, you're like, your skin is like gorgeous now. So you look like that. And what did you do? You're bi-coastal now.
So now we're bi-coastal. We're going to New York every week. We're working 3 days in LA, 3 days in New York. And then I have 1 day off to rest.
But you're 20 something.
But I'm 22.
So you have like endless energy.
Endless. And at the time, I stopped going. I didn't finish my community college. So she was my college.
Sure.
And her life was my life. I was basically, it was like the Devil Wears Prada, but the nice version. She was amazing. Amazing.
I love hearing that. I rarely hear that. The devil wears Prada, but the nice
Yeah,
version.
she was like, Vanessa, I heard
Like
my
she
name.
really wanted the best for you.
The best. But I heard my name like 48 times a day. Vanessa this, Vanessa that, Vanessa. And I would just like do, work, go, go, go. We would work hard. And then every night we would go out to this fabulous dinner in New York. She loved a martini. And then I learned to love martinis. All of our clients were, just very well-to-do, kind people in New York. But at the time, she was charging $500 a facial.
Jeez.
So these were people that like owned restaurants and
it was nothing
were
for
part
them.
of shows. And they're like, oh, here are 2 tickets. Like, come into my restaurant. Da, 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 da. Like, let's go to the Mandarin Oriental for cocktails. Let's do this. So I had this like insane life from 22 to 25 in New York with her. And then to top it off, as an esthetician in California versus New York, the laws are very different. And so in California, in order to do any kind of medical anything, you have to be a doctor or nurse. Mm-hmm. In New York, a practicing esthetician can be under the umbrella of a doctor.
Oh, okay.
And so at 22, I was doing Fraxel, IPL, laser hair removal. I was doing all these lasers.
Wow.
And so she really gave me the advantage to learn at such a young age, like what works on what kind of skin, like, the downtime, how to pair lasers, all these things.
Wow. Okay, so how long are you doing this bi-coastal thing, and are you loving it so much?
Loving it. Oh, so wonderful. I did it for 3.5 years.
Okay.
And then when I was almost 26, she decided to stay in New York full-time, offered me an amazing like full-time job there. But my family's in LA, my friends are in LA. And so I said, thanks, but no thanks. She gave me her blessing. And then I started my own practice.
At how old?
26.
26. And so you name it after yourself. Where did you open first?
So it was Vanessa Hernandez Skincare. And I basically went from like doctor to doctor because we'd always been within doctor's offices. And I really loved that culture because I was learning so much. And so I went into Dr. Michael Groth and Dr. Robert Hutcherson's office in Beverly Hills. They're 2 very prominent plastic surgeons. Michael Groth is like the eyelid surgery guy. Ooh. And Dr. Hutcherson is like so known for the lower face and neck lift. And so, so they took me in and they gave me a room to work out of. And I slowly started.
And so it's so interesting because you went back to your roots where you were like cold calling and walking in and selling your wares.
Oh, yeah,
again.
That's true. I never thought about it like that.
Because you were doing it with the hair extensions and you did it for yourself.
I did it for myself.
Which is what you wanted to do.
Which is what I want. But I like didn't
realize.
And so I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to try it because the issue is the machines are so expensive, like the microderm, the lights, the oxygen, all these. But when my old boss, Dan Jean, left LA, she used to have people that would come in and buy packages. So say you come in and you're like, I want to buy a package of 6 facials.
Yes. Which I've purchased many packages, FYI, which is why I look like this.
Gorgeous and glowing. But when she made the really quick decision to just be in, she fell in love. And so to stay in New York, a lot of people were so upset and ended up like suing her because imagine buying a package.
And they wanted to work with her.
Yeah. And then she just never came back.
Oh.
And so I was like, hey,
piss some people off.
If you can give me 2 sets of equipment, the 2 that she had, I'm like, I'll fulfill your packages in hopes that they stay with me.
Okay.
And so that's how I slowly started. So
you saw an opportunity. Wow. I love when people seize opportunities where no one else sees one.
It was tricky.
Okay. So you're now in 2 doctor's offices. At what point and how long did you decide I need my own shop?
Not for a long time. I was there for 9 years.
Whoa. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was having so much fun meeting amazing clients. I was still going to trade shows. I like hadn't paid for any PR or anything. I was getting write-ups. L'Oreal.
All word of mouth.
All word of mouth. L'Oreal reached out to me and they asked me to be a skincare ambassador.
Oh my gosh.
And so then I was like traveling back to New York with them. And they put me on this Melanoma Research Awareness Alliance team to speak about melanoma. And so I was like still in that like medical world kind of. And then I decided to open up a second small room location in the Palisades and inside of a Pilates studio. And when I did that, I became so busy there because there was no one on the west side at the time that was like doing my kind of skincare.
Sure.
And so I was super busy in Beverly Hills, super busy in the Palisades. And then my dad was like, honey, you're like burning the candle both ends.
Yeah.
Why don't you find a middle location and just build a practice? And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So we just started like walking around Brentwood, and we saw signs for lease, and we found the Brentwood Gardens. And my dad was like so supportive because he was in construction. He's like, I'm going to help you build it out.
Oh.
Like you can do this.
Oh.
And so he like helped me build this 3-room space, and it was where I started. And then I hired my first employees, and we did so well that within 2.5 years, he was like, you're outgrowing this. You need a bigger space. And he was right. So within the Brentwood Gardens, I moved from like a teeny tiny 3-room situation. I don't even know how many square feet it is, but now to like a 14 or 1,500 square foot with a team of 10, 6 treatment rooms, an office, a lobby, a background, like it like doubled and a half in size. And so thank God he's the one that helped push me. Because then that forced me to get a medical director. I really reinvested all the money that was coming in to buying lasers. Now I have 9 different lasers.
Oh
So, and then that grew like VH Skincare.
wow. Yeah. And so you're still in Brentwood because it is still the ideal location.
Mm-hmm.
And I go there and I love it so much. I know, I love it. Okay, so you painted a very rosy picture of your set, and it pretty much has gone according to how your mom said it was going to, which let's talk about that. We need to have I need to interview your mom.
Yes. Oh my God.
need
She's
her
the
in
best. You would love her.
That is so significant in and of itself. You trusted it, but then you just ran with it when the opportunity presented. You seized it and you ran with it. What about the downturns, which most people don't talk about, but that is where the growth is built? COVID, if you've had any downturns.
Oh, yeah.
Like recession, beauty is one of the first things to go.
Mm.
How do you navigate that?
So when I had my 3-room space, I signed this big 5-year lease for this bigger space. I had to reinvest all this money to build out again. And we opened for 3 months, and then the pandemic hit. So it was like, Diosito Santo, what did I do?
And what happened? And like you're on people's faces, breathing on them, working on their faces, and everyone's
oh yeah, no.
6 feet away from you.
We had to close. We weren't legally allowed to practice. So we closed for 6 months. And then because I'm a med spa, we weren't like really supposed to open, but I personally started taking people.
Okay.
And I would take like 3 people a day versus 10 to 12. And I would use like the first room for the first person, the second room, and then the third. And I would like rotate the rooms. I would space it out. We got air purifiers.
So you were cautious.
Grade. Oh my God. I wore like the mask plus the shield and gloves.
You never know.
Excuse me. But I never got COVID from the office. So the cleaning and all that really does work. But no, financial stress is probably one of the worst stresses in the world.
Yes.
So,
yeah. And again, you're in an industry that will be very quickly affected with any financial, downturn or
it's a luxury. It's not a necessity.
Sure. So I know your e-commerce is taken off. And so I think that is such a great pivot because whereas maybe you can't do a physical service, e-commerce.
So that's when we started it.
Because
you're totally right. Yeah. I didn't have a website really before. I was like I didn't have an Instagram. I wasn't into that world.
Yeah.
But because we closed, I was like, oh, I guess it's time to do this. So we did our website, our e-commerce, and we started our Instagram. So little by little, we just started selling stuff there and educating and.
Yeah. And your products are outstanding. So talk to me about the one that I love and I use consistently is the pad.
Oh, the VH Method Peel Pad.
There's a ton of products. Go to her website. Please check it all out. It is all outstanding and I use all of it.
Thank you.
The pads, talk to me where that came from because I don't know what magic elixir you put in it.
Thank you.
But I get so many compliments.
They're amazing. And that makes me so happy to hear that because you are glowing. You're radiant.
Yeah.
Like your skin looks healthy and bright. Oh,
It's these little pads, and I put them in my travel bag. I put them in my carry-on. I put them in my purse. Just have them. It'll give you
just
the
have
pop.
them. So that was when I wanted to or develop a product that was great for all skin types, all ages, and I had a lot of people that would come see me and be like, "Wow, this is the best facial I've ever had in my life," but I live in somewhere else. I wish I could come more often. So I was like, what can I create that's like a facial in a packet?
Oh,
And so these wipes are literally meant to emulate a facial. So there's the exfoliation part, which is glycolic, lactic, salicylic acid. Those three acids help to like exfoliate dead skin cells, help with breakouts, congestion, and acne, and then help to brighten any hyperpigmentation, brown spots in the skin. Then there's like the nourishment aspect, which is the hyaluronic acid, which helps plump.
we love that.
So good. There's a ton of antioxidants, like green tea extract. Because my mom's an aromatherapist, we put some essential oils in there.
So good when you do it. Oh.
And then the magic ingredient are these stem cells that come from a plant that's native to the Himalayas. And so
You see? Magic elixirs.
And it's crazy because they did this clinical trial just on this plant stem cell. And I guess because of the altitude, who knows what it is, but they just used the stem cell on people's faces for like 30, 60, 90 days. And you actually saw these deep wrinkles kind of grow back up. I mean, the wrinkle was still there,
Of course,
but it
yeah.
was significantly better. So when I was making the product, I was talking to the chemist and he's like, let's just put 0.00001 just so you can say you have it in there and you can really mark up the price. And I was like, excuse me? He doesn't know who he's talking to.
No.
Like, I'm all about results. So I was like, what's the maximum amount we can put in there? He's like, oh no, that'd be too expensive. I was like, what's the maximum amount? And so we put the maximum. We like juiced it in.
Well, it shows.
So they're so
This is what I'm
wonderful.
telling you. Go to the website right now and just buy a box. I promise you won't regret it. It's an investment. Just do it. Okay, so 2 more things before we end because I just love talking to you about this stuff. If somebody wants to get a facial with you, I know I come and get so many different ones and I love them all. If somebody needs that pop, they have a big event they're going to or a big thing. I know you get a lot of celebrities that come to you. What is their favorite famous thing they get done?
So it's kind of a 2-step answer.
Ooh.
So everybody that comes to see us, they get a facial, which is 1 hour. And then a lot of times they come for their mini facial follow-up, which is like a little mini facial like 1 to 2 weeks later. So if somebody has a big event, they'll come 2 weeks before and they'll do the facial that you love.
Yes.
Like we do diamond tipped dry microdermabrasion.
Take it off. Take it all off.
We microderm the face, the neck, the chest, the hands, the elbows. Then we go do through some extractions.
Yes.
Then we do a wet diamond tipped microderm, which is like a carpet cleaner for the skin. And that's called the Diamond Glow. And there's so many different serums like brightening, acne, hydration, stem cell. Depends on which one we're going to do that day. Then we do one of our proprietary masks, depending on what your skin needs. Then we like blast you with so much oxygen.
Oxygen.
And oxygen helps to rejuvenate, plump up the skin. It helps to heal any like wounds or breakouts.
Right. Like hyperbaric chambers. After injuries or surgeries, they tell you to go in an oxygen chamber. So you're putting it on your face. Duh.
And so this almost uses like a spray gun. We use this company called Intraceuticals. And it's really amazing because it kind of like harnesses the oxygen and shoots it right into the zone. So where people have a big event, we do a ton around the eyes with like a lymphatic drainage that passes. And it really like brightens up the whole under eye. Or you can do spot treatments.
Ooh.
When Madonna used to tour years ago, I was good friends with her facialist, and she would actually go on tour with her to just oxygenate her before and after every show.
Because it makes such a difference. Okay, so there you go. Now you know what to ask for when you make your appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last point is we didn't talk about that you're expecting a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Baby number 2. It's important, right? Because she's a badass businesswoman and doing all this and the stresses and the highs and the low of business. But you're married and you're making a family and growing a family and doing that part too. So there's really no excuse to get it all done. Not easy, but it's possible. How are we?
I'm great. Me and the little girl are so well. Thank you.
I just found out it was a girl. Because we have a little boy already.
Yeah. So
And you're
sweet.
due in how many months?
I am 6 months now. I'm due December 17th. And we have a little boy who's the same age as yours at home. So we're very excited. He's like talks to his little sister every morning, every night. But I'm feeling great. I'm just a little tired, but that's normal.
Of course you are.
Well, those 3 adjectives, I'm like, they're a little lower on this side. Like the energetic and the go-getter. I'm like, can we just lay?
Yeah, let's just lay here for the day.
But that's not an option.
Well,
so
I'm proud. I'm proud of you, friend, and you really do inspire me. Just everything you do in life and business, and how you just proceed and say yes and let's do it. And you've introduced me to so much just excellent skincare education and experiences and people. And so I'm super grateful that you would come here and be for your first podcast.
Yeah, my first. It's such an honor. I am so honored, and this was so much fun. And your setup is so beautiful.
Thank
your
you.
team is amazing.
Thank you.
And you made it so easy.
Yay, it is easy. So you'll be seeing a lot of people watching this very soon.
Very cool.
And how can people reach you?
So we are at vhskincare.com online, or you can follow us on Instagram. It's the at VHSkin. And yeah, our phone number is 310-849-4452. You can call us to make an appointment, but we do the facials, head to toe treatments. We do sculpting massages for the face. We do lasers, peels, microneedling. So many new. I'm doing injections now. Like there's a salmon sperm thing that's like coming from the UK. There's just so many fun, innovative treatments. So
whatever you say, I do.
We're doing it. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Happy glowy skin.
Woohoo!
Bye.